royal occasion from the people of East London when their Majesties visit the London County Council's new housing estate on Hackney Marshes. Here the LCC are spending £500,000 to build model homes for 1,000 families. Hackney is proud of its glistening new buildings and prouder still to be able to show them to the King and Queen. You can sense that pride vibrating through the streets.
When I was 12, suddenly my old man reappeared.
We moved into Hackney when I was just 11 from Eastman.
I wanted to take over the world. I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be Prime Minister, I wanted to do something big.
I just wanted to do what my dad was doing.
He'd just come out of prison from Dartmoor Prison, where he went away when I was 2 years old.
My dad was already a well-known guy and sort of, you know, he could handle himself and he was a bit of a jack the lad.
Where I grew up, low aspirations or none. It was like, we're never going to be nothing.
I remember once I went into the back garden and I found a starter pistol, do you know what I mean? Like a flare gun. And I was like, Dad, what's this? And he put a flare in it and shot it in the air. And from then I was like, man, I just wanted that lifestyle.
I was moulded off of that, always to look after myself.
Thatcher's Britain for me meant I was in Essex. As long as you worked hard, you got up and you cracked on, that you were definitely going to be a millionaire. You know? Wasn't everyone going to be a millionaire?
Fast money. My dad was up to no good and I just wanted to be like that. That was my main goal, to just be like my dad.
I was just trying to get through school, man, just being a kid.
A lot more black people, a lot more foreign, a lot more mixed. We moved in and I moulded to that.
My grandfather used to play, had an electric organ, and I was very close to my grandfather.
My mum, they'd have people around at the weekend and the guys would be playing dominoes.
The old bill was brought to Hackney to like try and get these kids, these little villains, into fishing, but I was already into it.
I remember learning the recorder.
I wanted to choose art.
I would bunk off of English geography and go over the tech block and make speaker boxes.
Then the glockenspiel and the xylophones.
About 4 or 5 of us stood out because we could fish, we could angle.
It wasn't really drawing or that, it was more about making things out of clay.
Having guitar lessons.
And if not speaker boxes, fishing rod rests and that.
Trumpet lessons.
And me and my brother would be playing the music.
But we stole all the trumpets.
You put the system on, the records on top, and they drop one by one onto the deck. As the next one finishes, the arm comes back, next one drops down and then comes back on again.
We ended up selling them for about £6 to a second-hand shop to buy fish and chips.
And we used to control that, me and my little brother, 7-inch records.
So I was always down in the arcades, like after school, or probably when I was supposed to be in school. I've always been about technology.
It was one deck, your mum's got a speaker, let's have that. And we begged, borrowed and stealed and built our very first one-deck reggae sound at the age of 13 years old.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't know what year that was 69.
Jungle, 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 keep in the jungle.
Coming from a West Indian background, music's always been a thing in my family.
But I was playing my uncle's records when he was out. I'd look at the records when he was out and just try to put everything back exactly as I found it.
Right from my grandparents down to my dad, down to me, and then
that whole blaxploitation, Afro, Superfly era, I was grew up right in the middle of it. And so that was my influence.
I had a jazz funk collection.
Started liking reggae, liking lovers rock, liking the whole big speakers.
I didn't know, I had no idea what I was going to be or what I wanted to be. I had no idea whatsoever. I just wanted not to be in trouble.
A lot of people that put on parties were pretty heavy fellas.
I was in the same class at school with Smiley from Shut Up and Dance, Daddy Earl, and a guy called Errol Francis who was DJ Dexterous, Kings of the Jungle.
The pressure from them, right, as much as, you know, for me to be creative was like, better do them a good flyer. I was 19 years old, I was a little kid really riding around.
Then my other mate from school used to do mobile discos.
Didn't know how people scratched, I didn't know what the pitch was for on the side.
Then he graduated into getting a sound system.
Me and Earl and Smiley would purposely get money for clothes and buy the cheap clothes and put our money into the sound system.
And just sussed it out myself.
Be willing to break into warehouses and maybe get arrested in the morning.
It's quite intimidating going into that place and meeting these people.
Going up to Coventry, Birmingham, the Midlands and further. Quite a lot where I maybe made the decision that I could actually make a go of this.
So, okay, all right, yeah, I've got it, yeah, I can do that. And you walk out and go, whew, okay, I've got the job.
Phil had, by that time was, this is Eastman, who runs Cool FM.
We called it Cool FM. It was all hardcore, you know what I mean? British hardcore.
We used to call it jungle techno because it had that fall to the floor and the break beat mixed into one.
That was 91, 28th of November 91, that was born.
We got to know each other because he was running security at Telepathy for his old man.
By 92, the jungle flavours were coming in.
Jungle was there from the off. It was part of the hardcore movement.
A lot of people try and claim ownership. There's no ownership.
I don't know about the terminology, but I know the music was there anyway.
Even like, you know, a lot of us would say like a London thing. Out in the sticks, out in the country, that you have people doing the same thing, man.
Specifically, black culture is starting to have an effect on that new culture coming in, and references from black culture are starting to be introduced in the music. That
was me. I knew music was my life.
But then what's happening while those references are becoming introduced into the music, you know, their white counterparts are enjoying it.
This was just meant to happen. And from all of us doing our own little thing, we all just come together. It happened, it was that timing, you know, like the stars aligning or something, whatever, that was it.
Growing Cool FM as a unit and a family in the very early stages of jungle.
The power we've got, man, with this radio is ridiculous. It's like we thought we got to do our own event.
Phil, no disrespect for him, he had Cool FM, so he had the street, he had the people. But the joke is he wouldn't have known his way out of fucking Hackney if it wasn't for me.
And Richard approached me about doing an event. I think things were on his Raindance thing, it was slowing down a bit, or he was moving differently, doing different things.
With my contacts and that, I got a warehouse in Curtin Road.
I said, well, I've got a name, you know what I mean? He goes, all right. He said, what is that? I said, Jungle Fever.
The idea for the name actually came from Phil, because he's a keen fisherman and he liked the book Carp Fever.
And the reason I said Jungle Fever was because of Black and White Relationship, Spike Lee film. That's what it was named after, the Spike Lee film, where it's like, you know, that's how they called it. And they said if a black guy went out of a white woman, it was Jungle Fever, or vice versa. So that's why we called it Jungle Fever, because we're there for everybody.
I also knew a designer, which is my mate Pez from Raindance days.
I'd have flyer bug, and that would like be this kind of sort of semi-depression that I'd go into.
Again, that's something that Phil wouldn't have known about. So went there, told Pez what to do.
I kind of broke through the pressure of trying to find an idea.
We took the production up a complete level from everything that had ever been seen before.
A mask, so that, you know, we could potentially have everyone in the crowd, you know, wearing the flyer.
We used to hire BBC film props.
There ain't no stopping people outside. Not tonight, mate, can't come in.
It was going to be a flagship for jungle.
This is the scene, you know, I mean, this is us.
And ultimately, that was why I was always introduced and played as a resident on Jungle Fever.
When it came down to lineups, within reason, then I left that to Phil.
I was moulding it off of the sound system, the reggae sound system days, with lots of artists, lots of entertainment.
He knew who was cutting edge, he who knew who was coming through.
Hard entertainment all the time.
I think we were the first people to play Andy C out.
But I had them in their order as they were, because of the sort of music they played and how they was going to play. It was the same with the MCs. Some were very ragga, some were more hip-hop kind of MCs, some were very English. So what I'd try and do was not have too much of one thing.
That's where I started first playing jungle. You know, Rose, Turnmills, Linford Street Studios. You know, that's where, for me, jungle was starting to get that vibe.
People like Ron, SL, Youngblood and those sort of people, they're names that I was aware of via flyers, etc. when I was doing Raindance.
You knew the ropes, man. And then, you know, you could bring in a ride or whatever following on from that. It was just everyone had their, I knew what was what with it in their army.
We were the most exciting parties. There was certainly an edge.
I didn't want to do a job, I wanted to live this life.
Our first two, Jungle Fever 1 and 2, lovely.
Partying and earning money and living as long as it lasts.
Packed him out and like, Richard, right, we've got to move on. He goes, Linford Studio. I said, nah, not going south. Richard said, Phil, Linford's is the place.
You got to remember, back then we didn't think it was going to last this long.
Because the actual owner of Linford Film Studios obviously was into films. This was the first time the venue came with their own security. So he wanted us in there because we were like BBC props, etc., and made it into a kind of film set at the actual party.
Talked to my missus. Me and Sue was like, no, because I'm not silly. And back in the day, you had East and South, never really gelled.
Because we didn't have our security. 3
guys went up to the door and they got blanked.
They played it wrong.
The security took the piss out of them and ridiculed them a bit. I remember the guy looking at him and saying, is that how you really going on? He goes, yeah. He goes, all right.
Certain faces went away, came back, fired a few shots off.
One of the bullets went past Susan's face. It basically scraped her face.
And it was all a bit Wild West out there or whatever.
All the security run.
All of our security that we would have normally used, they were all there having a party with us.
They've shut up the place and gone, but everyone see a chance because it was so ram out, so everyone wants to push in there. They think of a look, but we held the door. We turned round, no security, they're all gone.
So we just spoke to the copper and he let us run it and we securitised the event ourselves.
I go around the back where they've got a great big garage, all the security were in there having a meeting, they're going home. I said, what are you doing? Oh, no. It's unsafe. I said, it's unsafe for security. I said, but that's your job. Security get paid to make the place safe. You can't pick and choose. They're like, oh, no, mate, we don't get paid. I said, all right, do it. They all went home. Some of them turned their jackets inside out and they all went up, marched out together up the road and went.
Here is this rave that we're all synonymous, we all know it synonymously with London.
The old Bill come. The old Bill basically said, right, we're locking it down. You lot, whoever's in here now can stay in here. If they go, they can't come back in, and we're not letting no more in. So Rocky done about a 4.5 hour set, because they weren't even letting the DJ in or nothing.
Okay, well that's that, you're fucked now, that's the end of that, it's all over.
And our decision then was, right, it's got to come out of London, because they're just being stupid now.
I mean, many of the people who played on the bill of Jungle Fever were all from the same area, and of Hackney even, let alone London.
I said, no, we'll just go straight up to Coventry, to the edge.
It was the first sort of full-on jungle event to be taken out of London, like in a big scale.
If you want to come to Jungle Fever, get in your car or coach.
And they're like, huh?
And that was the real thing of getting Jungle Fever on the road.
Like, confusion, Phil, like, what the fuck?
Out of London for a while, cool yourself down, sort yourself out, because, you're going on a bit silly now.
It's like, wow.
So we got over that. Then afterwards, I kind of looked at Richard with a told you so face. Right?
I could earn money whilst having fun.
I don't know what the question is.
For me, it was just a tune. Okay. I played it, I liked it, and for someone else it will mean more. Like everyone's got, like if we talk about food or football teams or music, everyone's got their special moments. I loved the helicopter track, and it smashed it, and it was a great track, but it wasn't, like, for me, a game changer for me.
Edge the Eclipse would never be the same again after that, because Jungle had arrived.
I actually learned to scratch before I could mix. It just happened. It wasn't like this long-term dream.